All right, guys, this is the Superior XF 979 TR. And I think that this is the best priced full suspension carbon mountain bike out on the market right now. But let's not waste any more time. Let's just go straight out to the trails, take it for a ride, see exactly how this thing performs, and go over some of the details. You're not gonna wanna miss the price that this bike is currently coming in at. Let's just say Bikes Online right now has this priced so well, it's nearly 50% off. All right, out here on the 979 TR by Superior, this bike feels really, really light. And it's pretty surprising. I feel like the frame is really close to the Issue R that I've got, but with just a little bit longer suspension. So you're getting a little bit slacker head tube angle, 66 degrees, and just makes it feel a little bit more capable on rougher trail systems, which is really nice. But this bike feels so snappy. It feels like a shorter travel bike should, in my opinion. So I really feel like this bike is a bike that a lot of people should be on. As far as when they look for a full suspension, this is probably the ride style and quality that they're looking for. And this bike feels so good. Everything about this bike stock feels really good so far. The tires are super fitting for this bike and for this particular trail. They're just gripping like crazy. Bike is really quiet. Like, I'm not really hearing much of any extra noise aside from like rocks and stuff hitting the frame. It's just really snappy, super easy to control. You don't feel like the head tube angle is too slack, so you're not constantly feeling like you need high speeds. This bike seems to handle really well in faster situations and also just in slow rolling through a trail system. I do find when you get to head tube angles below 65 degrees, that bikes can start to feel twitchy at lower speeds. Where a 66 degree head tube angle, man, that's spot on. Where a 66 may not be as fast as say like 67 or 68, like an aggressive XC style bike, but it's definitely going to be more, I would say, user friendly when it comes to the average person riding one of these bikes. Feels really solid right now. The chainstays just feel really short, the way this thing is handling through these turns. And as soon as I step on the pedals, it just wants to go. And to think that as lightweight as this bike already is, that you can make it even lighter with carbon wheels is pretty awesome thing to think about. I'm gonna stop here and take a look at the bike. All right, guys, let's take a closer look at this bike and really go over some of the details of what this bike has to offer, because the 979 Trail is so much fun. It's just a lot of fun. And I like the fact that they have several other models in this same frame set with just different components. So if you need to go a little bit cheaper, you can, or if you want to go a little bit higher end, you can. So let's take a look. Okay, so taking a closer look at this bike, it has a RockShox Revelation fork. This is 140 millimeters up front. This is a little bit older technology by maybe a year or two, but so far, super impressed. It's really, really plush. I'm running about 89 PSI and I have about total weight of about 190 pounds with all my gear on. But this full carbon frame is super, super slick. The RockShox rear suspension is super plush. I love RockShox suspension. It's just a really high quality setup. This is 130 travel in the back. And then down on the drivetrain, you've got an SLX crank. You've got an XT rear derailleur, which is awesome. And then you have an SLX rear cassette. You're getting high quality parts on this bike all the way through. I love how thin these seat stays are, and it has an extra support in the middle just to make it super durable. But so far, the 150 travel dropper post has worked pretty well. I have no complaints. I really like Physique seats. I've used these on all the Superior bikes, and I've come to really like the Physique saddles. They're super, super comfortable to me. Now this does have this really interesting headset right here. This is kind of like a knock block, like what you would see on Trek bikes. It won't allow it to turn into the frame, so you don't have to worry about damaging your frame at all. If you have any like issues where it would possibly hit on this bike, there's not really anywhere that it would actually hit, but that will also prevent pulling your cables if you get into a bad wreck. So good feature on that. Now this does come with DT Swiss M1900 wheels, super lightweight for an aluminum wheel, and it's got the tried and true DT Swiss rear hub built into it. So you're getting a high quality hub on these bikes. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Schwalbe knobby nick tires. Where I ride, knobby nick tires are absolutely premium tires for the trail. They just grip super, super well. And also on the dropper post, this does come with an awesome Shimano lever. I really like these. It's got a bearing built in, so it's super smooth action. Not a big fan of the grips, but grips are super easy and cheap to swap out. The width of the bars are really nice. I believe these are 760, so nice and wide. And the stem on this is a good length also. This is a size large that I've got, and it fits me really well at 5'11". Taking a look at the brakes, they are Shimano brakes, and they are 4-piston, both front and back. So super, super nice. You're gonna get 180 millimeter rotors that do have resin pads, but they do have the XT style levers on these. So the nice, I call them single finger levers, but I think they're actually called 2-finger levers. But these shorter levers are just so much nicer whenever you're out riding. You can really get a single finger action to do all of your braking for you. Really, really powerful brakes. And if you're worried about the carbon frame having any issues, they did install this nice kind of rubber guard down here to protect from any rocks flying up and hitting it. Now this does have internal pressed bearings for your bottom bracket. So some people are a little bit concerned about that. It is a little bit more work if you have to do any more maintenance on it, but nowadays so many people are used to maintaining that style of bottom bracket. It's not going to be an issue if you take this to a local bike shop. And one other thing, these are set up tubeless, so these DT Swiss wheels and these Schwalbe knobby nick tires are tubeless ready. You just need to make sure you pick up some valves if they don't come in the box. I'm not sure if they do on this particular setup. I know on my other Superior they did, but I did not get this one in a box. I picked this one up directly from a Bikes Online rep. So yeah, this one was already assembled and everything for me, already converted to tubeless, but these are tubeless ready and tubeless compatible. And just for your reference, you do get nice bottle mounts right down here. You get 3 right here, and then you get 2 over on this side. And you do get a chain guide down here on the other side. Sorry, it's not a good view, but you do get a chain guide, so you don't have to worry about your chain popping off in super rough terrain. Out here, this is a really fun trail system to test this style of bike on. Short travel bikes are phenomenal on this particular trail, and I really like to test them for their speed and ability to kind of go through corners and accelerate out of corners. And this bike just feels so snappy. I'm having a hard time really picking on anything that I don't like about this bike, because I absolutely love short travel full suspension bikes. I'm just not a long travel suspension guy because honestly, my area, there's no need. So if you live in an area kind of like what I live in, then yeah, short travel is the way to go. You're just gonna get more bike for your money, in my opinion. Super versatile. You're gonna be able to keep up a little bit better, where with a long travel, you're gonna have more pedal bob. So short travel is what I like to ride. Out of all the bikes that I've got, as of right now, after a few rides, and I only had one analog bike to pick from, this is the one I would get so far. We'll see if my opinion changes over the coming weeks when I ride this more. But this bike it's perfect in my opinion. So I did let one of my buddies ride this bike out on a little bit more technical trail in my area, and that way I could get a second opinion on it. And he is a hardcore 27.5 guy all day long. He has refused to go over to a 29er wheel, and I've tried to get him to go over to 29ers for years, but he's sticking with 27.5.
However, after he got done riding this, he did say that he could see himself owning this particular bike. He actually really enjoyed how lightweight it was, how well it rolled. With these DT Swiss wheels, it rolls so smooth. If you've never been on a high quality set of DT Swiss wheels, you're really missing out. And having a bike that is super lightweight, rolls really well, and has that sweet spot geometry that's kind of in between a trail bike and an XC bike, this really hit home with him. And that is saying quite a bit. So he may be picking up one of these in the near future, because this is the first 29er that he has ever been on that I've actually got his stamp of approval on. So really good job, Superior. That says a lot to me as a reviewer, that this particular bike is going to check a lot of boxes for riders out there.
So there you go, guys. This is the Superior XF 979 Trail. They do have several other models in this XF Trail lineup, but I think that the 979 is in the sweet spot. And right now, coming in at $2,399 for a carbon frame, good quality suspension, high-end drivetrain, great dropper post, awesome seat. It's unbelievable what you're getting for $2,399. If you guys have been slightly interested in getting a full suspension carbon bike, this is the one to go with. It is such a good deal right now. If you guys want to pick one up, of course, I've got links down below. Those come back, help out this channel, no cost to you. Lets Bikes Online know that, hey, you watched Mike's review, and I would greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, but as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.